Michael Penix Jr. is arguably the most interesting prospect in this year's draft. Penix has the arm talent and stats that would put him alongside top dogs Caleb Williams and Drake May, but he carries a history of baggage that puts him more in line with the group of Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, and this group has a ton in common. All three prospects have played for more than one college in their careers. They all have a ton of experience. Jaden Daniels has played 55 games. He's 23 years old. Bo Nix has played 61 games. That's the most ever by a quarterback. He's 23 years old. And Michael Penix Jr. has played 6 seasons, with 4 of them ending in 7 or less games due to injury, and he played 49 games in his career. He's 23 years old. Playing 4 to 5 years in college used to be a huge red flag for most NFL organizations. But in today's culture, we no longer discriminate against these college old guys. So today, I want to show you some film on the poster child for college old guys. While Penix has some major high attributes that make him a potential star in the league, there are some issues on film that hold him back from being in the Drake May, Caleb Williams group of prospects. Alright, so before we dive into any film, the thing you need to know about Michael Penix Jr., and I cannot stress this enough, the guy is a special thrower. When you watch this film, you will say, how is this guy not in the Drake May, Caleb Williams group when it comes to pure talent? And the answer is, he actually is. He's in that group. You will see he will make throws all over the field, anywhere. And that's the one thing comparing him to someone like Bo Nix, who I just did a video on. I felt like Bo Nix didn't make throws all over the field, and if he did, it was very rare. Michael Penix Jr. shows it off on his film. It's plastered everywhere. So Michael Penix Jr. really shows off just about every game, him throwing the ball all over the place. All right, so first I want to start off with showing you throws all over the field. And first we're going to start with kind of our shorter routes, our curls, out routes, stick routes, slants. And here on this out route, I just think it's really good timing with pretty good accuracy, showing that he obviously knows where to go with the ball and get the ball on time. All right, so this play is a great example of a total package throw. It's not a crazy throw. It's not something that really pops on film that would pop up in a highlight tape. It's not there. But what it does is it shows me that Penix can look right, flip left, know where to go with the ball, and can still manage to get the ball out right as the receiver starts to really chop his feet to come back to the ball. That's an awesome throw. The fact that you can look right, flip left, still get the ball out on time while reading a defense, that's awesome. And here's another ball that's actually a little bit more downfield. Here, Penix drops back. He stays tall in the pocket, which I love. And I like the location of this ball. We'll talk a little bit about his accuracy and how it's a little inconsistent a little bit later in the video. But here, I like the location. I like the spot. If he puts this too flat or puts it, maybe on the inside of the receiver towards the hashes, this ball can get tipped or deflected away, and just the timing and the spot he puts this ball in, to me, is awesome. So, really great play all around from Penix here. And here's just another very valuable NFL throw, and it's a crosser. Now, he's a little late on this one as he waits for his defender to get towards the sideline, but that's when it's open. He crosses his body, and he makes this throw on the run, which is pretty awesome. Just kind of shows off his arm. Throwing cross body, he hits this guy pretty in stride towards the boundary and still gives him time, if he could have, to catch and run. Earlier in the video, I said, hey, I don't think Michael Penix makes the touch throw over the middle very often. And while this isn't over the middle, that touch throw towards the sideline is beautiful. I mean, that is awesome. The location for where only the receiver can get it to hit him in stride right on the sideline and not lead him out of bounds is all around awesome. And here's a throw from Michael Penix that is just on his film over and over and over again. And I'm not going to show you more examples just because, seriously, look at a highlight film and you'll find it everywhere. But this is one of his go-to throws, and it's just the simple play-action crosser, and he hits it time and time and time again. And here's just a high-level NFL throw. He's going to drop back, he's going to look right, go back left to the bottom of the screen, and he's just able to fit it over that corner's head and get it in before number 21 comes down to make the hit. You have to have a big arm to make that throw, and he does. He can stick it. And here's just another example. And here's just another rip downfield. I mean, he waits and waits and waits. And then once he sees the guy, he lets it go, and he fits it right in between the corner and the safety. Great location, great spot, good timing. It's just impressive, the throws that Michael Penix can make over and over and over again. And here is just one of the more impressive throws that I've seen from Penix's film. Here in the college playoffs against Texas, he drops back and he sticks this throw. I mean, he lets this thing loose, and you'll see that's not a huge window, but he manages to fit it right between the two safeties for a touchdown. If you don't have the arm to make this throw, that is an easy pick. But Penix has the arm strength to fit it in that gap for a touchdown. When you start to scout quarterbacks, you obviously watch all their game film. And when you do that, you will see them make throws over and over and over again. And I know I've said that a few times. But one of the most impressive throws that I can see a quarterback make is a back shoulder fade. And the fact that Michael Penix does this routinely, I mean, I have at least 5 to 6 clips, and I could have had more, of him throwing deep back shoulder fades is super impressive. And look at this one against Texas. That throw is great. The timing, the location, the placement to where only his receiver can get it against a talented Texas team. You know, that's a next level throw. And here's another back shoulder throw against Boise State. Penix is going to drop back and he finds the receiver, and look what the ball is. It's just put right on the back shoulder to where only the defender can get it. If this ball is thrown any more inside, that ball will easily get deflected or picked off. The quality that Michael Penix possesses that really impresses me the most is that he just knows when to attack one-on-one coverage, and he always seems to find it. You know, no matter what throw he's making, he doesn't really throw into coverage that often. He always knows where to find one-on-one coverage. And look at these two throws. So we have the first one at the bottom of the screen against Arizona where he throws it to his tight end. And for me, that's just perfect. It's 3rd and 16. He throws it kind of back shoulder, but a little up top for his tight end to go up and make a play. And if not, I've seen, I feel like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins make this throw. It's the pass interference ball. That's how you draw pass interference on a back shoulder play, thrown ball. And then the one at the top of your screen that you'll be seeing on replay that was in the end zone, I mean, that is a perfect ball. You're telling me right now, like if that ball was thrown to Justin Jefferson, he's hitting the gritty in the end zone because they just scored a touchdown and your fantasy team's pretty happy. These throws are NFL level, and I dig it. I love it from Penix. I am very impressed. And before we get to some of the negative stuff, I just really wanted to show a play that just pops on film and shows off his huge arm. I mean, it really doesn't do it justice, and I think people get thrown off because he's a lefty. I think all lefties get this mantra of, oh yeah, they throw weird, they actually don't have that big of arms. But here, I mean, seriously, he does the thing again where he's looking left, and then the second he pops right, he throws this ball 50 yards to the back of the end zone for Rome Odunze to catch. I mean, this ball, like, dude, this is sick. This is great stuff. For as much as I like Michael Penix as a prospect, I can't talk all positive the whole video. Here, let's talk about some flaws. And I think the biggest flaw he has is his accuracy play by play. Now, I think most of the time it's pretty accurate, but here, this is an easy touchdown against Texas, right? You have to hit this in the NFL. This should be an easy touch over the shoulder pass. But instead, Penix just overthrows it. He just overcooks it a little bit. And you'll see, and I'll show you more plays of him just kind of missing these have-to-be-made throws. And here's another example of not really having the touch that he needs, especially in the middle of the field, right? Here against USC, you're playing Caleb Williams. You know he's an elite point maker. This dude puts up points. And here, this throw, it should be made. But he puts it too much on the line. It's too flat. If he was able just to get a little touch to get this ball over that initial linebacker that was circled, this is a touchdown. But instead, he throws it a little too flat, if you will. It gets tipped up and picked off. You need points in the red zone, especially on touchdown opportunities like that. Here's just a simpler throw against Tulsa, right? He's just going to come off the play action like he always does. He finds the curl at the top of the screen, and, it's fine, right? But why does the receiver have to go to the ground when he's wide open? In the NFL, we got to get our ball to our playmakers and let them run. You don't want your receiver to have to go to his knees to make a catch. That just limits all your upside. And I've seen this one too many times on Michael Penix's film for it not to be kind of a concerning issue. And here's a play I talked about earlier, the play action crosser. Now, this isn't necessarily a crosser. It's more of a kind of like a corner route from the tight end fullback hybrid 37 here. But once again, you got to let this guy catch the ball in stride and let him run. Or at least even on this case, he's so wide open, underthrow it a little bit to where he needs to slow down to catch it, but not make him dive. Just let him get the ball in stride so he can at least make a play after the catch instead of making a great diving catch and falling to the ground. And here's another play where the whole thing is great, right? Like he draws back off the play action. He looks, he finds a receiver over the middle, and then he just throws it the million miles an hour. There's just no touch. Now, I'm not saying he has to throw an absolute, lob over there, but he could take a little off this ball and just make sure it gets completed. Instead, he throws a rocket in there. The receiver can't reach it on an outstretched arm, and it falls incomplete. When really, this should just be an easy catch. Here's a play against Michigan State, too, that concerns me a little bit. In all the clips I showed you, how much pressure did Michael Penix really face in his career at Washington? It's very limited, right? He didn't deal with a ton of pressure. In here, he actually faces pressure, and he overthrows his receiver high, and it gets picked off. You have to be able to handle pressure at the NFL. Now, this is one example, of course. I don't have a ton of videos of him really facing any pressure at all. And in the one I do, he kind of forces a throw high, and it gets picked off. One of the limitations that Michael Penix has as a prospect is his athleticism. How many of the throws in the beginning of the video that I showed you were outside of the pocket? How many of those throws came from him scrambling around, making a move in the pocket and getting outside, extending a play and throwing? The answer, I think, is zero. I think it's literally zero. So Michael Penix doesn't really provide a ton outside of the pocket. Within the pocket, it's great. And here on the run, you see it. He throws it behind 37 and he kind of throws it into the ground. He's not much of an athlete. And when he gets outside the pocket, it's a real 50-50 shot. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about is his athleticism. So I think most scouts will say, yeah, man, Michael Penix is a statue. He doesn't really run much. He's just a pocket passer. And while that's partially true, I have about 5 clips of him actually scrambling or doing QB designed runs. And that's all I could find. And I watched nearly every game from his senior year, and I found 6 rushes. That's kind of crazy to me. But what I will say about Michael Penix is he isn't just a statue. He's not kind of like the Sam Hartman type from Notre Dame where he's truly not a great athlete. Michael Penix, when you see him run, he can actually get going a little bit. Now, he's not going to be anything dynamic at the next level, but I don't know. It's something that's so unseen because he just didn't do it at all. He just never ran. He did very little scrambles. Everything was from the pocket. But, I'll show you, there's one clip that should be playing already where they did a quarterback design run in the red zone and he scored a touchdown and he looked athletic doing it. So while I think he's not going to really be a dynamic rusher at the next level, he can still be on that level of a, maybe a Tua level kind of runner where you're not getting a ton, but there's still the ability to get outside of the pocket and make plays and not be a total loaf back there. So at the end of the day, I still believe Michael Penix should be a first-round pick in the 2024 draft. I have a feeling that teams will have a hard time selling him as a first-round pick due to his extensive injury history. But at this moment, I hear people are saying Bo Nix will be a first-round pick. And truthfully, after scouting Bo Nix, if people are saying that Bo Nix is going to be a legitimate first-round pick, I think Penix is by far a better quarterback prospect. Bo Nix has a lot more upside and is more of a project fun quarterback, but Penix just really gets the position. He knows how to throw from a pocket. He gets how to read a defense. He has the big arm. Sure, someone like Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels, they have that ability sort of, but I think Penix is just steps ahead of them. And truthfully, a team can't whiff on their first round pick and take a project. That's just how I believe it. And I think Penix is far from a project. I think he's probably one of the most NFL ready quarterbacks we have in this draft. So I easily think he's going to be a first round pick. And if not, he'll definitely be an early round 2 pick.